The harvest season has finished, so now we move on to foliage. More and more people have been pouring in. A lot of trees have been getting chopped. It might be time to start doing something about that. Bjorg is someone who doesn't need much to be satisfied. He's not really into that whole fancy town thing. Two groups of friends will be arriving with some resources, and let's just stay humble, get everything from the trees. Now let's take a pause. 4 days, the first group will arrive. We already have a bit of homelessness. Because it's a modest house. That's right, back to basics. Modest house, lumberjack, tree nursery, forager. Now, we get to decide where the trees go. Let's look at the tactical situation. We've got a builder, we've got the tree nursery, we've got the forager hut. Not the best distribution, but it's whatever. For the time being, do we really need construction? Nah. We can't afford it. So let's look at our objectives. Grow 5 J, 5 PB trees. Just to grow. Now these, they look good, but they're only good for cutting. So don't grow them around that. Instead, let's grow a few over there. These two. Let's look at the decrees. Hands off, work harder, work less. And then we've got all of these. Now we've got wood types. Ash tree. Best wood. Pine, pomelo, plum, and the ash. Well, the best food is the pomelo. So, we will try to grow that in range. Here. Simply to maximize the usefulness of the forager hut. We already have. Me as well. Once I've got a bit of food buffer, okay, now reassign over to here, and build the lumberjack. So what we'll do is we'll grow trees around this, and then chop them. And then the idea for the scenario is, after all, so have 40 days, have 20 people, and feed all of them through foraging. After all, the whole idea is we arrive on a small island, and we're going to spam trees on it. Because there's been too much chopping, so we're going to take things in the opposite direction. Now I could activate the decree, work harder, but what, a little bit harder work on building the lumberjack base. Working a little bit harder on planting the trees. There's working a little bit harder on picking up what type of tree is this? Are these pomelos? Oh, that doesn't have any that are in range. Oops. I'll build that, I suppose. Food's a little low, but it's manageable. Okay, reassign the person over here. Chop these, even though there's some food at the bottom. Oh well. We'll have to deal with that. We just need to get enough wood to build one modest house. And yes, the rule about planting something over a sapling, destroying it, still works here, so just keep that in mind. It's some weird pathfinding, but oh well. Oh, there's the 4 people. There they arrive. With their pumpkins and tomato. Singular. Or maybe it was plural and that person just ate it. I don't know. But now, I'll have to queue up another house. And now, in 10 days, the next batch will arrive. As mentioned, there's only the 2 batches in total, so don't worry about running out of food or beds. It's fine. But yeah, you really do not want to chop plum trees or pomelo trees because they simply do not give wood. Ash and pines, these are good. These are good chop sources and they grow mushrooms. These are just for the achievement, really. And then these aren't really good for much. These are good for food. So I don't think this will last long enough that it should really matter, though. See, get this up and running. That should take care of the unhappiness as long as the food holds. So then, these trees at the very top are... I don't think they'll be missed if they get chopped. This still needs a little bit more time to grow. It is much, much faster to chop than to grow. But oh well. Follower ended the day hungry. Well, I've still got a few plums we can pluck for food, so we'll try and get them fed off of these. These we'll chop when they're able to. Now we've got some pillow trees coming along. They'll grow eventually. And then there's some wood for wait a minute. No, I want you over there so you can start building this house. We've got a whole bunch more people coming in. We need 20 beds in total to make this work. Okay, no more food, but hey. I mean, to gather, but that's fine. As long as we have stuff in storage, totally acceptable. Reassign you, chop this tree. If we look at the types of trees, I think this is a pine, so it will give a good amount of wood. Plug that into this house, and then we will have 16 beds. Not enough, though. This one, we'll see if it's needed. Follower is hungry because they're eating some fairly low quality plums. It's only a single bit right there. So it's to be expected. Okay. We can begin to chop. That should get enough wood. 5 bits of wood. Yeah, that this house will have almost enough. And then let's get a forager there. Okay, we've got enough wood for that house. That'll come along nicely. We've got plenty of beds. We just need to make sure that these funnels grow. Okay, once these are chopped, then we'll get this, harvest from these. All trees seem to grow in a 2x2, so just keep that in mind. Sometimes we might need to place them down one by one in order to make them fit better, but like this, for example, that would seem to grow the best, but yeah, so it works. You will inevitably end up with a lot of spare room in the gaps, so just put some stockpiles, put some roads. Let's see, what did this arrive with? Some lettuce and some tomatoes. Okay. Okay, I have 20 beds, 2 available, but just to ward off any unexpected happenings, we'll build another one. And we've got a spare person, but I can't justify another place of work at the moment before some of these trees grow up, so... And then aside from that, I just need to wait out the clock and grow some trees. Didn't even have time for some of these pomels to grow up by the looks of it, but you might wonder, why are the mushrooms and plums so bad, and yet the pomels, which have a nice upwards trajectory in popularity, are so good? And if you look at the Steam page and see what the name of the company that made this game is, you might be able to notice why they like it. One person ended up hungry, but they just ate it, so they're good. Yeah, we have these decorative plants. I guess we have the option to build it in case I demolish and want to rebuild, but there's no stone on the map, despite all of this. This is not harvestable stone because our leader is just not into that sort of thing. What is he into instead? Well, being tidy, bed made, dishes clean. Despite that, he probably just sleeps on the floor. To the surprise of nobody, really. There we go. First one grown up. 1, 2, 3, 4 on it already. There we go, that's good. I don't really need to chop any more trees, just isn't the need for any wood, so I'll just step back, chill. We need to survive a total of 40 days. We're halfway through, so I'll queue that up, and then You can see the pines are meant to be chopped, same with the ashen. Pomelos, not necessarily. Plum, not necessarily. So they're marked as food trees and wood trees, which is interesting. I'll do that just for some visual continuity. So you can see when they say 3 wood, it's actually a pine symbol for a reason. It's just most of the trees we've seen so far were of the type that would actually correspond to. Occasional plums, but these ones, much rarer. You can sort of see why they're why they don't produce fruit, and are therefore much less useful. They don't give us much wood, they don't give us much fruit. Like, what's even the point, you know? But hey, once they're grown, I can chop them and then stop growing them. Follower is hungry? Well, guess what? You probably ate a plum. Okay, like let's be real. You probably ate a plum. Kid grew into an adult. Well, guess what? There are trees that serve no other purpose than to be cut. And you can hold an axe, right? Good. Now I'm at the 20 population. I could decree hands off. But do I need to? Sure, food is tight, but I feel like them being hungry is... Oh, never mind. Oh, never mind. Okay, I really don't like issuing that decree. But a man has to do what a man has to do, and I am not... it's just too small. We can't do this. We cannot be doing this. Okay? Now, what more advanced towns might do is say, okay, chop down all the trees, put a tomato farm, second tomato farm, third tomato farm, nice houses, planks. But this island doesn't start with that many trees. We can't afford to do that. We have to lay the groundwork. It might not be as pleasant, as quaint, but at the end of the day, someone has to plant the tree that others find shade in. And if that means that our food is kind of bad and kind of limited, there's barely any of it, and to be honest, it's not the greatest. Sure, pomelos are 2 food, but, well, 300 what, 3? Psychos, no need for them. Let's see. No need for that. Actually, if I reposition this a little bit better. It's gotta be messed up when you're working as a tree nurturing these saplings, and you know full well that the only reason these trees are being planted is a vanity project. Because they exist to be chopped, but they're not even the best at being chopped. They exist purely because they came in. I don't know, that's... How you know, like that's gotta make them feel something, some sort of way, you know? And then don't plant any here, otherwise lumberjack base, I might not pay attention to it, and it might just cut down a pomelo. Which would be a tragedy, because it's bad at being cut down. Just look how small it is. Same thing with the plum trees, they're just so small. But meanwhile, if the ash trees, huge. If the pines, big. It's just, we kind of don't need that for our food endeavors. We need smaller trees that can better channel their nutrients into feeding us instead of themselves. Maybe there's a way I could have better optimized the space, but would the people living here really try to do something like that? Would that be in character for them? No. No, it would not. So, I'm fine with it not being completely optimal. Totally fine with that. We have some food. People aren't necessarily going hungry because it's less mushrooms and plums, more pomelo. You know, things are going well. Oops. I meant to go to filters, not degrees. Oops. Hopefully nobody noticed. Well, the happiness goes up due to degree being cancelled. Oh. Oh, death of old age. Oh, is that the nursery? Okay. Yeah, that explains why the thing went up. You know what? Get one last chopped. One last chop. I'll either turn it into a pomelo or into a house. And then undo hands off, but for real. Since I do have spare food, and the deaths of old age are trying to trickle in. Of course. As a side effect of being a small island, there will inevitably, once things are wrapped up, be a need to find a use for the surplus people. And I'm thinking there are two ways of doing that. Either spend the spare wood on fishing boats and sort of double down on this sort of nature lifestyle. Primitive, one could even say. Just depends on how you're looking at it. These people would say natural, though. So that's what I'll refer to it as. They could double down the natural lifestyle or try and do something with these rocks. Contact other settlements, send people abroad to establish new ones. Maybe? Restart the cycle, you know? But the land itself is full. There's not really a whole lot more that can be done. Just fill all of these up, and then there's nothing more. I honestly, I'm the builder. There's no maintenance mechanic in this game after all, because the scenarios aren't meant to be long enough that would really be a problem. I think is the reason why. Also, just it would be a bit annoying. But there's a... Once we've got the trees up, once we've got our entire population devoted to collecting food, then we have surplus. And sure, 4 of the people are on tree nursery duties, but you may have noticed, not a single wild sapling appeared. It's in our hands now. I need to keep them there. After all, what if, after all of this is done, a storm were to come in and blow them over? I need the saplings to be ready. What if one of them rots from termites or something? I need the saplings ready. Of course, I did just unassign the builder by saying, oh, there's probably no maintenance mechanic. But oh well. Plus, I do still have a few saplings that have been planned, so yeah, they can stay. And look at these stockpiles. There's no need to continue playing. We've seen what the silent's all about. There's a house, there's food, and there's some friends. It's kind of like being rich. Of course, the houses are modest, so they're cozy. More room for each individual person, I suppose. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how they do it. And there's food. Nobody's starved. So hey, gotta be satisfied with something at the end of the day.